Good morning, everyone, and welcome to a one-on-one with Caribbean Lifestyle and Maya Islander, as well as Caring Hands Clinic in San Pedro. And we're going to be talking to them today a little bit about getting ramped up to meet the new CDC requirements for travelers to the United States starting January 26th. With me, we have our editorial director, Carolee Chanona, as well as Mr. Chris Sosa from Maya Islander, Dr. Shauna Pott, and Nurse Cora from Caring Hands Clinic.
Welcome, everyone. I just wanted to say thanks for joining us and taking time to answer these very important questions. I know with this new CDC protocol being expanded just next week, it's very important for us to get this information out.
I understand that Maya is partnering with a licensed facility in San Pedro and in other terminal locations. And I'd like to start off, if you could give us a little brief introduction, Mr. Sosa, on how this came about, what the partnership is, a little bit about Caring Hands Clinic, and everything we need to know about location, and just starting off with the basics of this program you guys are introducing.
Tanya, thank you for the invitation to be here, and it's a pleasure to be here with other colleagues, Carolee, Cora, and Dr. Shana. The CDC issued new regulations governing the movement of travelers into the United States. Now, travelers from around the world, including returning U.S. citizens, must present a negative COVID test, which is no older than 3 days since testing. In this regard, the Belize tourism industry and the Belize aviation industry, of which Maya Islander is a prominent provider of air services within the country, and particularly to the Philip Coulson International Airport, realized very quickly that we needed to respond with an available solution for travelers. So we saw this as a unique opportunity to reach out to the Ministry of Health and to private healthcare providers to do our part, as we always have, as part of the tourism and aviation industry, to provide services that could assist travelers. So as a first step, we decided that we would volunteer and provide a renovated facility in San Pedro. It's a standalone facility which provides adequate space for antigen testing. So in that regard, after a few calls, we kept being referred back to the same names, namely Dr. Pott, who is acknowledged and recognized as one of the foremost healthcare providers in the fight against COVID-19 spread. And in addition to that, we were introduced to Nurse Cora, who has as well a tremendous amount of experience, not only on the island of San Pedro, but is well known within the medical community here on the mainland. It is our intent to expand very quickly the availability of testing sites, which Maya is donating not-for-profit around our municipal airport locations. So that's a bit about Maya's involvement. I am certainly not the expert in the medical area, but whatever expertise that we have, it is volunteered with absolute goodwill for all other air operators, hotel operators, businesses. We know that we've got a big task on our hands to rejuvenate tourism in this country and everything that is attached to air travel, and it is the right time for us to participate in this capacity.
Thank you for that overview, and I think it's really important that you all are tackling the major tourism hubs. And so with that, I would like to turn it over to Dr. Pott and to Nurse Cora to get into a little bit about the specifics of the tests being used, their authenticity, how effective they are, and a little bit of why travelers should feel confident in using these testing facilities.
Thank you for having us again, for inviting us to do this interview. I believe that, when I was contacted by Maya Island Air, by representative, by Mr. Chris, what really appeased me to the idea is that we will be providing safe, sanitary, and a structured facility that is specific to testing. And our setup is so that we provide safety to these passengers or anybody who needs to be tested. As a matter of fact, the kits that we have acquired have been approved by the Ministry of Health, and our kits are FDA approved. They're manufactured in the US, have been used in some US hospitals, and they actually provide greater specificity and sensitivity than any of the other kits that are currently on the market in Belize. Our kits are the BioPlus BioPharmer antigen test kits, and as I mentioned, they are FDA approved with a 96.7% specificity and 99% sensitivity to the COVID virus.
And sorry, Dr. Pot, just to follow up on that, I know you mentioned it's available for everyone on the market that is seeking a test. For those that are going specifically for the purpose of travel, how are those results administered?
Yes, so we will be providing hard copies if needed, and we can also send out emails of the results. And of course, this will all carry our specific stamp and logo from our facility, and it's what the patient requires, but both can be provided.
And then I'm guessing, Mr. Sosa, as well as both of you all, I guess you're in communication with the airline to a certain degree to understand what it is they are going to be accepting, so that nobody has a surprise when they get to the airport.
Certainly, we have used our partners in the United States who have direct contact with the major carriers. And of course, we're in contact with our local representatives of those U.S. carriers, and we have verified that we will be required to present documentation, so physical documentation at the counter, which the clinic test center is set up to print and share with customers. Friends.
Wonderful. Nurse Cora, I know that you are stationed in San Pedro all the time. Are you all expecting to have walk-ins, or do you want this by appointment only? Also assuming that once you've opened, the partnerships between the hotels and the airlines will become very valuable, where the hotels can make, I know in the case of some of our clients, they're offering to make all the arrangements for their guests, so the guest doesn't have to be running around trying to figure out, where do I get a test, where do I go, but are you also taking walk-ins?
Thank you for your question, Tanya. I believe that it is better to have an appointment just due to the COVID restrictions, right? We don't want a whole bunch of people all together or lined up outside, because nobody really wants to stand outside in the sun where it's hot and waiting for their COVID test. But I do believe that there is a chance and possibilities for us to take walk-ins as well.
Got it. Okay, wonderful. So there's an appointment system, I guess. I know that there are a lot of phone numbers. I know Mr. Sosa mentioned there's a US direct line in case passengers want to call and book direct. There are local numbers, there's WhatsApp numbers, there'll be a website. So we'll share that as well at the end of this with all our readers as well.
And I know Nurse Cora, we done some of the superiority of the test on the market in Belize today and the test that you all will be using. I I just want to ask, is there a budget set so far as what the cost per will be?
Yes, we have looked at our expenses, and so far we've settled between 75 to 99 US dollars. Our facility and the staff is set up in such a way that we are already prepared for what follows in the event that someone does test positive, does require physical examination by a physician, if they need medication, and then we are going to refer over to the Ministry of Health and follow their guidelines. So we have structured and set in place protocols to ensure the safety of these passengers.
I think there's a lot to be said about a controlled environment and the way that you guys have put it together. So it seems like you guys have everything ready. I guess the $1 million question is, when will the service be up and running? I know that you mentioned, obviously, if you're traveling on the 26th, people want to start maybe checking from the 23rd. And will San Pedro be the first location to open? And then what can we expect in terms of rollout going forward?
And our facility will be opening this Saturday, the 23rd.
Okay.
Yes, that's our date for our grand opening. And we hope to be of service to the San Pedro community and travelers.
And Chris, any ideas on when Dangriga and Placencia will be up and running?
By next week, we intend to have 2 renovated mobile facilities placed on properties in Dangriga and Placencia for the use of travelers and hotel partners.
Okay, great. So, San Pedro first, and then within the next 2 weeks, Placencia and Dangriga can be looking
Yes.
forward to. Wonderful. Well, thank you guys. I really appreciate all the information for ourselves as travelers, but also most importantly, to be able to share this information with our readers.